Hello, we are continuing our ranking of every episode of The Office. This episode covers numbers 65 through 56. Let's get into it. Number 65, season 2, episode 17, Dwight's speech. Dwight has won Dunder Mifflin's Top Salesman of the Year award, and he's nervous about giving a speech in front of everyone in the convention. Pam uses office time to plan her wedding, which drives Jim crazy to the point where he decides to travel when she gets married, and the employees each adjust the thermostat to a different temperature. The cold open is Michael throwing a football back and forth between him and Dwight, I believe, or I think he just thrown it around, and gets annoying. So Jim intercepts it and then plays keep away. And so he's thrown it around to everyone. And then it goes to Ryan, and Dwight tackles the hell out of Ryan really hard. He knocks over Stanley. He just gets really ridiculous about it. The temperature thing, I mean, I get it. That's what you do in an office. Uh, you know, people wanted different temperatures and stuff. That's just about in every office. It's hard to make that funny. They didn't really make it funny here. It was just Oscar sets it cold. Kevin sets it to 69, of course. Creed said it at one point. Who knows what he said it to, but that's an age-old office problem. So Michael and Dwight go to this convention where Dwight's going to give a speech, and Jim pranks Dwight by giving him, because Dwight is really scared at giving a speech, and Jim gives him speeches of dictators like Mussolini. But hey, Jim, what do you think? Why do you think those dictators came to power? Because they made powerful speeches. So it kind of backfired on him. Dwight uses those speeches and gets everybody fired up. Everybody loves it. But before that, he was too scared to go up there. So Michael goes up there. Michael has given this speech before because he's one top salesman of the company a couple times. And Michael goes up there and he absolutely bombs. Everybody hates it, what he's saying. So then Dwight goes up there and he just absolutely kills. It's awesome. I guess Michael gets jealous and just leaves. So I mean that's not very cool of him. And Jim wasn't sure where to go, so he booked a flight to Australia to make sure he's far away from, he doesn't go to Pam's wedding. So okay. Number 64, season 4, episode 3, launch party. As Dunder Mifflin Infinity launches, Michael gets irate when he learns that he's not invited to the party in New York. Dwight attempts to win back Angela, this time by beating sales made by a website. Phyllis attempts to use how to deal with difficult people tips she learned from a website on Angela, who is insufferable after her breakup with Dwight, and Andy sets his sights on Angela. The cold open is one of the best of the series. It's the DVD video cube that was floating around the screen, and everybody's looking at it. Michael's giving some presentation on some stupid thing. Nobody's paying attention. They're all looking at that cube to see if it's going to go to the corner. And it finally happens, and when it happens, everybody cheers and leaves. And Michael thinks he gave a great presentation. Like, okay, really funny. This is right after Michael ran over Meredith. So Meredith goes to Jim and says, "You didn't sign my cast," and it's on her crotch. And I don't know if John Krasinski was traumatized or whatever, but he actually signed his name John Krasinski instead of Jim Halpert on there. So yeah, they're launching a website, and now you can order paper online. And Dwight says that he'll beat the website, and he does this to impress Angela. And he is really obnoxious about it, even though Pam feels bad for him because he feels terrible about his breakup with Angela. And but Dwight is super obnoxious about it. So Jim and Pam prank Dwight by saying that the website is self-aware, and he's chatting with Dwight. It's like, I've been programmed. I believe I've been programmed to destroy you. So silly. Uh corporate Dwight says that corporate gave Dwight 13 employee of the month. He got, instead of a raise, he got an extra plaque. So he was all proud of that. Jim and Michael go to New York for the launch party, and when Michael says the party is located at Chat Room, Jim realizes that it's a online thing, so he turns around. Michael is really upset. Michael got him, instead of getting them that Dr. Seuss book, Oh, the Places You'll Go, I think he got him Green Eggs and Ham or something like that. So Michael turns around, and he doesn't care about the Scranton party when he was headed to New York. But now that he's back, he tells Angela to make he lists all these demands. He wants an ice sculpture and go-go dancers and all this crazy stuff. And Angela's freaking out because she can't get that in 2 hours time. So Andy is trying to impress Angela, so he gets her an ice sculpture that he stole, and whatever. Dwight is just heartbroken over that. The Michael orders pizza, and the question is, was it Alfredo's Pizza Cafe, which is the good pizza, or Pizza by Alfredo, which is a bad one? The thing is, there actually is an Alfredo's Pizza Cafe in Scranton. But the delivery boy arrives, and Michael says, well, I have a coupon for half off. And the delivery boy says, that doesn't work here. And Michael's basically saying, well, I'm the customer and I'm always right. And the kid is like, I don't care. You're not getting a discount. So he holds the kid hostage, and then he refuses to let him out of the room. And finally Michael realizes, oh my God, I kidnapped this kid. So they let him out. At one point the kid says, this is stupid. And Michael says, you don't even know what stupid is. It's about to get all stupid up in here. Also from this episode, we have the famous line, which I see all the time, where Michael says to Jim, I think you're overthinking it. And Jim says to Michael, I think you're underthinking it. See that all the time. Jim and Pam sneak up to the roof, I think because they didn't want to be involved if the police came about a kidnapping. They go up to the roof. This is one of the iconic scenes. They are just they're just hanging out up there, and it is very adorable. So they have the launch party at the different branches. When they get to Scranton, Michael is like, screw you, Ryan, our salesman beat your machine, and go to hell. And my Ryan is embarrassed by that. But it's late, and Michael and Dwight just decide to go to New York, which I think is like a 2-hour drive, just to get sushi from the party. So okay. Number 63, season 1, episode 5, basketball. Michael and his staff challenged the warehouse workers to a basketball game with a bet looming over both parties. Yeah, it was just a basketball game. Apparently Brian Baumgartner, who plays Kevin, is actually really good at basketball and actually made 14 shots in a row. This is season 1 Michael, so he is ultra obnoxious and just horrible. He picks Stanley because obviously, Stanley's black, so he must be a great basketball player. It's Stanley is in his windbreaker, and he's when he dribbles the ball, he puts his hand out. It's the stupidest thing. Oscar volunteered to play, and Michael says, well, we'll push you in when we play baseball. So I don't know. Stupid joke. So yeah, the office guys play the warehouse guys because corporate said that somebody has to work on Saturdays and they play for, the loser has to play on Saturdays. And at the time, the office people were winning, but one of the office people accidentally hits Michael, and Michael says, "Oh, it's a foul. Okay, game over. We win." And the warehouse guy says, "No, we're not. Screw you. That's not happening." So Michael backs down. Then the office people are mad at Michael, but Michael says, "Oh, forget that. We're not going." He backs down from them too. During the game, so Pam was down there, obviously rooting for Roy, but then also secretly rooting for Jim, I guess. And while they're playing, Roy actually did hit John Krasinski in the face, and I think he got a fat lip or something like that, maybe bled or something like that. But that was real. They kept it in. They kept that shot in. Number 62, season 3, episode 17, Cocktails. Michael, Jan, Dwight, Karen, and Jim attend a cocktail party at David Wallace's home. As part of her resolve to be more assertive, Pam makes Roy go to the bar with a group from the office. The cold open was Michael trying to show that he's Houdini by getting out of escaping from a straitjacket. The thing is, he had the key in his mouth, and the key came out, and so he couldn't get out. And so his hair is all messed up. He's sitting in his office, and he just says, separately on an unrelated note, if you happen to find a small brass key. This episode was actually directed by J.J. Abrams. Okay. So a bunch of people go to I think it was Poor Richard's, and they walk by one of those claw machines that has the toys in it, and Pam says, "Oh, there's a duck," and Pam said, and so Toby spends all night trying to get the duck, and then he finally gets a duck. He doesn't spend any time. Pam says, "Well, I was hoping to talk to you, but you were gone the whole time." And then he tries to give her the duck, and Pam says, "Why don't you give it to your daughter?" So the whole thing was just adore. It's just funny. So at the party, this is the first time that Michael and Jan are announced that they're going out publicly, and Michael is being totally obnoxious about it and basically doing all kinds of kissing and just being really obnoxious that he's going out with Jan. Jan wants nothing to do with this. Jan is, I mean, this is how their whole relationship was. Like she's really not. Who knows what's going on with that? But it was just totally crazy, and she gets upset that he is so public about it. Michael is just so proud that he could finally announce publicly that he's going out with Jan, but Jan is still embarrassed. And she says, "I am taking a calculated risk. What's the upside? I overcome my nausea, fall deeply in love, babies, normalcy. Downside, I date Michael Scott publicly and collapse into myself like a dying star." We know which one happened. The last thing. Why Dwight is, for some reason, decides to do a home inspection of the house. I don't know why. I don't know. Maybe the whole point of that was so he could be in a room with David Wallace's son in the dark and talk to the kid. I don't know. I don't know what the point of that was. It was pretty silly. I like when Karen says to Jan, she just says, "Hey Jan," and Jan just says, "Not too good." I love that. In the end, they drive back, and Jan, Michael and Jan have a fight, and Michael says, "I want the house, Jan. I want the picket fence. I want the ketchup fights, the tickling and the giggling." So, I mean, they basically, Michael just wants that relationship so bad, and Jan doesn't want it. At Poor Richard's, at this time, Pam got back with Roy, and Pam says, I want this to work and I don't want any secrets between us. So um I she admits that Jim kissed her and she kissed him. And that makes Roy go into a rage and just start breaking things, just start breaking chairs, tables, glasses, just complete destruction with his stupid cousin or whoever that was. PM just leaves and says, we're done. And Roy doesn't get in trouble because the guy paid him off with their jet ski money. I don't know, but yeah, Roy went absolutely crazy. And at the end he says, I'm gonna kill Jim Halperts. And I believe the next episode is when he confronts Jim in the office, and PM and Dwight intercepts him with the pepper spray. Number 61, season 5, episode 21, 2 weeks. As Michael prepares to leave Dunder Mifflin, he announces that he will form his own paper company. Will anyone join him? So the previous episode, that was when Charles Miner was introduced and they totally mistreated Michael. So Michael goes up to New York and he quits. So in the cold open, Michael tells a story of how he quits, but he's going on and on. He's dragging it on and on and on, and everybody's just waiting because they know it's like finally he has a good story, but he won't tell us. Michael doesn't think that he needs to apply for any jobs because he'll just get a headhunter or something like that. But then this guy comes in and he says, like, hey, the job market is horrible. So then Michael freaks out. Michael calls Prince Family Paper, but their message is, oh, sorry, we've gone out of business. And the reason they've gone out of business is because of that episode where Michael and Dwight stole all their customers. So this is where Michael decides to form his own paper company, the Michael Scott Paper Company. He starts asking everyone if they'll join him, and everybody tells him he's crazy. No. So it's very it's finally Charles sees that Michael is putting his letterhead on paper and on correspondence and stuff like that, and Charles is like, that's it, you're out of here. Michael goes to give a speech and Charles says, nope, you're done. Doesn't even let Michael give a speech. Then Michael sneaks back in and tries to get people to come again, and Charles threatens to beat him up. So he says, please, will anybody join me? And Pam, who spent the entire episode trying to figure out the new copier, finally figures it out and realizes how stupid it is that she's just figuring out a copier. So it's basically a Jerry Maguire thing. So she leaves with him, and then they're walking out together, and it's kind of like the end of The Graduate when he's leaving with the woman, and then they realize, oh my God, what have we done? This is the same exact thing. Pam and Michael are looking. It's like, what have we just done? So, the Michael Scott Paper Company is still my favorite arc of the entire thing. When we get to the episode Broke, that it's probably going to be rated pretty high. Number 60, season 7, episode 16, PDA. Michael and Holly's public displays of affection start to make everyone in the office uncomfortable. Jim and Pam have too much champagne during the Valentine's Day lunch, and Andy tags along on a romantic treasure hunt Gabe has made for Aaron. The cold open was pretty dumb. Daryl's grandma just died, and Pam is consoling him, and she says, we made you a card, or we got a card for you, and we all signed it. But everybody thought it was Daryl's birthday instead of Daryl's grandma dying. So all the messages were like, yay, woohoo, go big dog. And they all come in and start singing happy birthday to him, and he's crying. It's like, oh, it's stupid. So this is when Michael and Holly finally get back together in season 7, and they are just all over each other. They are just making out all the time in front of everybody. It's making everybody uncomfortable. Finally, they put a policy that says no more PDA at the office. And while they're doing this, they have a I love this scene. They have a Dwight says, I have had intercourse in this office, as has Angela, as has Ryan, as has Kelly, as has Meredith, as has Phyllis, as has Daryl, as has Creed, as has Michael, as has Holly. And Kevin says, as has Kevin. And Angela says, with who? And Kevin says, she goes to another school. I love it. I love it. At some point, Michael says that he loves Holly, and at first Holly's like, whoa, 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 what did you just say? And Michael says, well, I love you. And she says it back. But Michael realizes that Toby is on jury duty for the Scranton Strangler. When he comes back, Holly is going to have to go back to Nashua, and they have to do this whole thing again with the long distance dating and all that stuff that happened in season 5 and where they broke up immediately. So Michael is very sad, depressed, and he says, well, we know this isn't going to work, so what are we going to do? And Holly says, we don't have to let corporate tell us how to live our lives. We'll just move in together. So I guess Holly quit, or I don't know. I don't know what happened. This is basically the beginning of the end of Michael leaving the office. The thing with Jim and Pam was stupid. They got drunk, and then when Dwight was saying that all the people that have had intercourse in the office, Jim and Pam were like, well, we've never done that. Well, maybe we should. And they kept looking for places, but they couldn't. But then eventually they do find a place. And then when they were asked about it, they're like, no, we just went on a walk. But they have this sly smile, so they did. And the stupid thing with Gabe and Andy and Aaron, basically my 3 least favorite characters. And Gabe gave Aaron a scavenger hunt. Aaron couldn't figure it out, so Andy helped him, but it was because Aaron and Gabe were dating. And the whole point was Andy really likes Aaron. Okay, whatever. Number 59, season 5, episode 7, customer survey. Dwight and Jim receive shockingly bad customer feedback reports and go to investigate. And Andy searches for a wedding venue, but Angela's standards make it difficult. The cold open was really dumb. Michael told everyone that he was getting married, and everybody's all happy for him, and they make a big deal about it. And then he reveals he's not actually getting married. I don't know what the heck the point of that was. So Jim and Dwight get really bad customer feedback reports, and basically it's because Kelly was mad that they didn't go to her America's Got Talent party, and she had mugs of everybody's faces on them. I want to get one of these mugs. They look really cute. And so also Pam is in art school in New York, and they are talking to each other via the world's tiniest Bluetooth. They have these little earpieces stuck in their ears, and they could talk to each other all day. This episode had one of the best scenes in the entire series. When Michael and Jim and Dwight are trying to work on their customer service skills, and Jim pretends to be Bill Buttlicker. It is one of the best. It's one of the best scenes. Dwight says, "Hello, sir. What is your name?" And Jim says, "I am Bill Buttlicker." And Dwight says, "Really? That's your name?" And Jim says, "How dare you? My family built this country, by the way." And then Dwight is trying to talk to Bill Buttlicker, and Jim keeps saying, I can't hear you. You gotta speak louder. Gotta speak louder, speak louder. And finally, Dwight says, Butt Liquor, our prices have never been lower. And Jim is saying, I find you rude and I don't like you. I want to put your manager on the line. So Michael talks to Bill Buttlicker and he says, Michael, I like the sound of your voice. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to buy $1 million worth of paper products today on one condition. You have to fire that salesman that treated me so terribly. And Michael looks at Dwight and Dwight's like, no, don't do it. But Michael's like, but it's $1 million. I love it. One of my favorite of the whole series. And so Dwight was convinced that something was wrong and he was real paranoid and he was really focusing on Kelly. And Jim figures out that it actually was Kelly that changed the feedback reports. So he goes to Dwight and says, Dwight, you were right. It was Kelly. It was Kelly the whole time. And Rainn Wilson did this. He's done this a few times. He played this part. He's like, oh, it was Kelly. And he finally was like, oh, Kelly the whole time. And his face changes. He says, let's get her. And he goes after her. I love it. In the end, they confront Kelly, and Kelly admits to it because she was mad about the party. And Michael and Kelly talk, and basically Kelly gets no punishment for something really bad. And Michael says, listen, I know what it's like when people won't come to your party. It really stinks. So I get it. Like, so I'm gonna pretend to yell at you and you're gonna pretend to cry and then it'll all be good. So okay. In the end, also with between Jim and Pam, so this dude is I guess he was hitting on Pam and saying, no, don't go back to Scranton. Go stay here in New York and fulfill your art dream. Like, okay, whatever. And then the thing with basically the whole thing with Angela and Andy and Dwight, Angela basically steers Andy into having the wedding at Schrute Farms. Okay, whatever. And in the end of the episode, Dwight says, don't worry, I'll take care of this. Number 58, season 6, episode 13, Secret Santa. Michael gets upset when Jim promises Phyllis that she can be the office Santa, but the office Christmas party may be overshadowed by some bad news from David Wallace. The cold open was dumb. At this point, Jim and Dwight are the party planning committee, and they decide instead of having a real tree, you have a fake tree that needs to be decorated by everybody. Whatever, just really dumb. This entire episode was, half of it was Michael just being a horrible, obnoxious jerk. He is really upset that Phyllis was Santa, so he shows up as Santa. So there's two Santas, and Michael says, who wants to sit on my lap? And Kevin says, well, Phyllis won't let me sit on her lap. And Michael says, you can sit on my lap. That's fine. And Kevin sits on Michael's lap and basically crushes him. And he's on him and he's just crushing him. And they're trying, he's like, tell me quickly, what do you want? And Kevin's like, I don't know. What should I say? And just really prolonging it. And finally, Michael's like, get the hell off me. And you can see in the background, everybody in the background is just dying laughing. I'm sure they had multiple takes of this. Mindy Kaling dying laughing. Ed Helms I think Jim just couldn't even be in the shot. He was laughing so hard. So that was an amazing scene. Also, Oscar has a crush on warehouse guy Matt, but he's really shy about it. It's like, okay, whatever. They had Secret Santa, and Aaron got Andy basically made it so that he got Aaron as a Secret Santa, and he got Aaron the 12 days of Christmas. Well, the first 6 days of Christmas were various birds, and these birds attacked Aaron. So she's really upset. She's saying, "Could you please stop with this 12 days of Christmas? It's really hard to me." She's crying. It's a terrible thing, but nobody will admit to who gave her the 12 days of Christmas gift, uh, because she hates it. So Michael is still upset. Instead of being Santa, then he shows up as Jesus. And Toby is about to say, obviously you can't be Jesus. And Michael says, oh, it's the Antichrist. I love it. And he is just absolutely horrible to everyone, just trying to ruin everybody's time. He admits that that Andy was Aaron's secret Santa, which just blows that, and everybody's upset at him. He calls David Wallace to complain, and he says, guess what I'm dressed as? I'll give you a hint. His last name is Christ. He has the power of flight. He can heal leopards. And David Wallace says, Michael, this is a really bad time. The company is about to be sold, and all the board and David Wallace included are about to lose their jobs. So Michael is freaking out, and he says, first they needed a Santa, then they needed Jesus. Now they need Michael Scott. Now they need a friend. So he goes there, and he obviously cannot keep a secret. And he says, yeah, we're all gonna lose our jobs. The company's being sold. We're all screwed. So everyone is freaking out. Everyone goes into the office, and Michael, Jim keeps trying to call David Wallace. David Wallace won't answer. Michael knows how to connect to David Wallace because he pretends to be. He said Michael Wallace told him one time where his kids go to school, so he pretends to be the daughter, and he calls the school. Such a horrible thing to do, but he gets a hold of David Wallace, and David Wallace says, yeah, we're being sold. All the board, all the executives are losing their jobs, but you guys are fine. You're all going to keep your jobs. You're the only good thing about this company. So everybody cheers. So then they have a good Christmas. Jim got Kelly a Twilight poster, which she loved. Michael got Dwight as a Secret Santa, and he kept getting him parts to a machine. And Dwight finally put all the parts together, and it was basically a nutcracker. So that was really cool. Andy redeems himself to Aaron by while everyone's leaving, he brings in a drum line of 12 drummers drumming. So that was cute. Number 57, season 6, episode 17 and 18, delivery part 1 and 2. Pam goes into labor, and Jim is ready to take her to the hospital, but she refuses to go. Meanwhile, inspired by Pam and Jim's baby, Dwight and Angela tried to reach a business agreement to have a baby of their own. This for such a big event of someone having a baby, this was not a great couple of episodes. It was a two-parter. The cold open was Pam would call customers and say, hey, I'm about to go into delivery. I'm about to have a baby. Do you need any sales needs? And Jim mentions to customers also that he's having a baby to get more sales. And Dwight's like, that's so fair. You can't do that. And Pam says, people like it when you mention your personal lives. And so Dwight calls a customer and says, hey, I was wondering if you needed more paper. My cousin Mose, he has this really terrible rash or something like that. It was just not working. Dwight says, he needs a baby because I've been noticing a gaping hole in my life. Sometimes I wake up cradling a gourd. So the whole first part was Pam was having contractions, but they can't go to the hospital yet because of the health care plan they have. They wanted to wait till midnight so that they get an extra day of in the hospital from the insurance. So that was real stupid. She waits forever. Finally she agrees to go to the hospital. Pam's freaking out, Jim's freaking out. Michael tries to calm them down. He drives them to the hospital. Dwight tries to be the escort, but he gets pulled over by the police. So but in the confusion, they forget the iPod, and so Pam tells Dwight, "Go to our house, get our iPod, bring it to the hospital." Dwight gets to their house, never finds the iPod, but he does find mold in their kitchen. So he tears apart the entire kitchen to take care of the mold, basically remodels their entire kitchen. So that's basically what he did the entire time. Um Pam eventually has the baby. Michael thinks of himself as Cupid because he claims credit for getting Pam and Jim together. So he says, I will bring you love. So anybody that's single, I will bring you love. So he tries to set up Aaron and Kevin, and tells Aaron she has to go on a date with Kevin. That was just really dumb. Um Pam can't the baby can't breastfeed with Pam, so they bring in a lactation consultant, which was actually Jenna Fisher's real life husband, Lee Kirk. So it was kind of funny. Jim's sitting there, and this lactation consultant is basically feeling up at Jenna and touching her boobs and stuff, and Jim's like, "Hey, yo, what's going on here?" And it was actually his real life husband. Um, and then they brought in another mother with a baby, and it was actually Bernadette from Big Bang Theory, and uh, Pam accidentally breastfed their baby. So not a great episode. Not great for such a big thing. Just not a great episode. Number 56, season 3, episode 3, The Coup. Jan arrives during a productivity meeting and fails to understand how watching a movie can increase productivity. And Stanford has their own brand of team building, which is playing Call of Duty. So Michael declares it's Movie Monday and has everyone watch Varsity Blues. And I guess they watch it in parts. So Jan comes in, and while everybody's watching the movie, and the only one that's not watching the movie is Angela, and Jan is just freaking out, like, what the heck's going on here? This is productivity. Everybody's watching a movie. So she gets really upset at Michael, and Angela says, "This is your time to Dwight. This is your time to become manager. So you need to have a coup." So Dwight calls Jan and says, "Listen, we need to meet. I know your clothes are Liz Claiborne, so go to the Liz Claiborne outlet and then meet me off of the exit, and we'll talk." And Jan's a little freaked out that he knows what she wears. That's weird. So Dwight makes an excuse to Michael. It's like, "Hey, I gotta go. I have a new dentist." So he goes to meet Jan and tells Jan that he needs to become the manager and they need to get rid of Michael. Jan calls Michael and says, "Oh, by the way, I just talked to Dwight and he wants your job." So Michael and Michael says, "Were you at the dentist?" Um, Dwight comes back, and so Michael plays along, and he says first Michael says, "Have some M&Ms." And Dwight eats the M&Ms, and Michael says, "I thought when after you went to the dentist you weren't supposed to eat candy." And Dwight says, "Oh, they have these new fast drying fillers or whatever." Michael asks, "What's the name of the dentist?" And Dwight says, "Crentist." Your dentist name is Crentis. I love that. Back in Stanford, they're all playing Call of Duty, and Jim is really, really, really bad at it. And they the manager brings in um Jim and Andy, and not to talk about business, but to talk about why they're doing so bad at Call of Duty, and it's all because Jim is an idiot and doesn't know what he's. Jim is bad at Call of Duty. That's the point. And at one point, Andy says, "I will shoot you in real life. What are you doing?" So that was kind of silly. But Michael tells Dwight, it's like, you know what? I just got a call from Jan, and they're going to make you the new regional manager, and they're going to make me the salesman. So when they change, when Dwight hears this, his demeanor completely changes. Instead of being like Michael's lackey, he basically treats Michael like crap. And Michael's playing along, and they announce, Dwight is the new regional manager, and everybody's freaking out. And I think Pam says something like, "I have a broken vacuum. Maybe we can make that the regional manager." And he's playing along, and Michael says, "Okay, and you get the company car, you get the Sebring." And Dwight's like, "Are you nuts? That's a dumb car, especially a convertible in Northeast Pennsylvania. What? That's ridiculous." And that's when Michael loses it. He's like, "You take that back. Wow, how dare you? How dare you talk to my car like that?" So he just unloads on Dwight. He says, "I know what you did, you son of a bitch." And Dwight is just begging for mercy, and um and Dwight says, "What do you want me to do? What should we do?" And Michael is a fan of the show Entourage, so he says, "Let's hug it out, bitch." And Michael says, "Hug it out, bitch," is a good way to work out issues, but not a good idea to say to a woman, I have found. It doesn't translate. um so it seems that they've made up, but really um Michael has Dwight do his laundry for a year, and also stands in the middle of the office with a big sign that says liar or something like that. So uh all right. All right, that is it. We are almost into the top 50. Thanks for listening and watching, and I will see you later. Bye.